I can't contain myself. The reason why this is so exciting for the Haiboxing 18868 release is because it is on promo. There's an exclusive deal for Haiboxing Facebook members, and it goes from the retail price of $83, which is already a decent price, to just $38. Yes, $38. And this isn't gonna be a coupon that you're gonna use on Banggood or AliExpress. They're gonna give you a coupon through the Facebook group where you can use it and order from Amazon. Yes, so that means you can get this in 2 days, prime shipping. So we're gonna go over this rather than boring you with the specifications, and for people who are new may not understand what those things mean in context. So we're gonna go ahead and compare that with other cars in the lineup and also other cars within that price range, so you have an idea of what $38 or $83 really means, what you're getting, what you're not getting by going with a cheaper car, what you are getting by going with a more expensive car, and we're gonna go over that right now. Okay, I almost forgot. One more thing about scale, car scale. So 1/18 scale and also 1/16 scale, I do not recommend to be running on grass primarily. You can get away with it when the grass is short. It will perform well on turf, but for grass, I would not recommend 1/18 scale nor 1/16. If you're gonna run primarily on grass of various heights and thicknesses and variety, I would recommend 1/10 scale cars at minimum. Okay, so we're talking about 1/18 and 1/16 scale cars, 1/18 scale cars primarily, and to be run on gravel or pavement. Okay, so do not try to buy this and operate it on grass. It will work, and I can show you some videos at the end, but it's not something I would recommend at all. Here I'm running this on grass and it looks like it's doing fairly well, but it's not going to be good for the runtime, it won't be good for the motor, and occasionally, as you see here, it does get stuck. Okay, the reason why I'm laying out all these cars here isn't to give you specs and comparisons of every single vehicle and give you all the details. It is so that you can have a context of what this car is, the 18868, relative to the rest. Okay, these are all Haiboxing cars with the exception of that guy. The only reason I put this on here is because it's also an 18 scale car and it is $45. $38. Okay, we're gonna compare these two first for pricing, and then we're gonna compare the retail price of this versus the others so you have context. Because I know not all of you are going to be able to get the limited pricing for promotion for $38. You may be watching this video later, or you may not join Haiboxing, or you might think, you know, $83 is already worth it, which it is. So we're gonna compare these two first. We're gonna pull that out and have an idea of what the context is. So this car here is made by a company called HS or Hospeed. I would consider this a toy grade car, although you can buy parts for it separately. I would not do that. If it breaks, I would say move on. But this is very, very durable. It was so cheap. At the time that I bought it, it was $38 shipped to my door. And so that's part of the reason why I got it, because I wanted to see what $38 could really get me. And so I actually I have a video of this where I threw this like a football and as hard as I could, and it landed on concrete and it did just fine. And it survived, there's no broken pieces. The body here with the crack is just from me wearing it out and hitting other concrete things over time. But the car still operates. It's not something I would recommend unless you are purchasing this for a very, very young child, like 5 years old, who you expect to be hitting curbs and driving this downstairs, and where you're not monitoring them at all or don't have any plans to, and you just want to just give them a car and have them drive it at their free will, then this would be it. That is not to suggest that this isn't durable. It's just that if you're gonna buy this for $83 versus that for $45, then durability for that price is, you know, bar none, a very good deal. But if you're gonna buy this for an older child or for yourself, do not buy that car, because the performance of it is just, it's not nearly as good as that. It's not even comparable. So this really is toy grade. Although you can buy parts for it separately, it's not something I would do. So let's go ahead and open these up just so you can kind of see the comparison of what it looks like. Over here, this is gonna be a plastic shield, I guess, for protecting it against damage or from dust or whatnot. It's not gonna be something you wanna modify. A $45 car is not gonna be something you wanna modify at all. The shocks here are friction shocks. They're fairly cheap. These are friction shocks as well, but the shocks on these are much, much better than these ones. The battery for this is actually installed on the bottom. where you need a Phillips screwdriver to take the panel off to access. And it uses a connector called a JST-SM connector, which is somewhat of a standard for very, very low budget vehicles or for boats. So it's not something that is as standard as the Dean's connector that we see here on this new car. So this here you can see all the components separately, the motor, the ESC receiver combo, the battery goes here. Another thing about this vehicle that is surprising that it has for its price is that it has metal CVDs. So this metal piece here, that's part of the steering, or not steering, but part of the axle is gonna be metal. Whereas for this, all the components are plastic. There's not necessarily anything wrong with plastic, because plastic, when it goes through the same impact, this will bend and just bounce back. Whereas for metal, if it bends, it's not gonna bounce back and you're gonna have to bend it back, but it will take a bigger impact. And this car is also much faster. Now we have the Haiboxing cars left. The great thing about Haiboxing is that all these cars each include 2 batteries. So most cars are gonna include only one and you're gonna wanna buy an additional one, but it's cool that all these cars include 2 batteries. Not only that, but they do also include an extra set of these clips, these body clips. So you'll get 4 that go in the car, and then you'll get 4 additional ones for when you lose them. Another thing about the Haiboxing is that all the cars include lights inside the bumper. So they're all operating lights, and they're all included no matter whether it's the super budget one or the more expensive one here, or even the 1/16 scale. They all include lights, all include 2 batteries. Cool thing about Haiboxing 2 is that the transmitter allows you to adjust the top speed. That's the reason why I got that car, because I didn't know how deep into RC cars I would get. So I wanted to buy a car that was for myself that I could share with my kid. And so the transmitter for this car is gonna be this guy. And so what you do, or it's gonna look like this guy rather. So you can adjust this to slow or normal, okay? So there's a 1 switch. If they're just starting out, or if you're just starting out, then you can set it to slow. And then when you're driving or they graduate to more skills in driving, then they can set it to normal. That transmitter is gonna be used for, that style rather, is gonna be for these 3 vehicles, okay? These 2 vehicles use a different transmitter like this. And what you'll notice is that the speed adjustment is a dial. So it's not just a slow and medium, but there's actually a graduating dial. So you can gradually go as fast or as slow as the car is able to go. These 2 cars here on the left are earlier versions of this guy. Even if these are priced at $70, this is $83 retail, and this is about $103 and higher. There's really no reason to get these 2 right now, because even if they're a little bit cheaper, because there are components in this more expensive one and chassis differences that are in here that they also upgraded to their more entry level one. So these ones we can kind of set aside, and we're gonna compare these 3 together. Okay, so these 2 are gonna be 18 scale, and this is a 16 scale car. So this is slightly larger. I talked earlier about not driving these in grass, and I still stand by that. They're not designed to be on grass due to the physical limited ground clearance. But if you must, then that one will perform a lot better, again, due to the physical difference of having more clearance from the ground versus the other ones. As far as portability, they don't look that much different, I know, but remember that these 2 have this transmitter, and this gray one has this transmitter. So if you're putting 2 cars together in a backpack, fitting these 2 together would be a lot easier, or fitting this and that would be a lot easier. If you have 2 cars, like one for you and one for your kid, fitting that in a single backpack is gonna be a little bit tough. Not all of us are gonna put cars in backpacks, but that's just something I wanna talk about because I do put cars in backpacks. It's just a little bit more stealthy, and as I'm kind of running around doing things and I may or may not get a chance to operate the car, I don't necessarily want the car out and about and everyone looks at it and starts asking questions and stuff like that. So I do like having it put away until we're ready to use, and having cars of this size, and if there's 2 of them, like I was driving yesterday with my kids, then it's a lot easier to put in a bag. And we already know this is a steal at the discounted $38, But let's discuss this as if it was full retail price of $83 and why you would get that versus the other two. So these two, okay, this is not the exact one because this is an older model, but this 16 scale car, the 16689, has a Pro version that has all metal drivetrain like that and has upgraded shocks like this for $103 on eBay. This one is also $103 on Amazon. So priced the same suspension, upgraded suspension, and same metal drivetrain. The only difference is the size of the vehicle, 16 scale versus 18 scale. And the cool thing about this particular car is that Haiboxing includes a second body. So you get a blue and green one in addition to this purple and pink one. And you get separate decals for it too. So you essentially have two bodies without having to pay anything extra. So again, these things I do not recommend on grass, but if you must, then this one will perform better on grass just because of the physical ground clearance that it has compared to the 18 scale smaller ones. So whether you get one or the other really just depends on the size and again, portability. Retail price of $83 versus $103. So what are you getting for the extra $20? Or in other words, why would you save 20 bucks and get this versus those two? Okay, for $20 more compared to this guy of retail, you're getting a brushless system, you're getting metal drivetrain, you're getting better suspension. And all that is definitely worth $20. And if you get that one, you're also getting a second body. So there's 4 reasons to get that versus that for only the difference of $20. So again, these two are going to be very, very good value for the promo price of that. Get it now if you're looking for an RC car at all. The runtime I recommend for this car is about 15 to 20 minutes. I did max it out and drove it until the headlights blink, and that's an indicator that the battery is low, up to 25 minutes, but the voltage per cell was 3.5 volts, which is too low for it to be healthy. So I would only drive this for about 15 to 20 minutes. Don't go for 25 like I did. Okay, so now you know what this is in context with the rest of the cars. At $38, you can tell it is a steal. Like, get two, seriously, because I don't think this is gonna get any cheaper. Well, it's not gonna get any cheaper. And 2, they're gonna run out. So if you don't get $38, then your next best bet is to buy the purple one or the larger 116 scale for $103. Those can also increase in price to about $115 to $125-ish. So be prepared for that. Pricing changes all the time, but that's what they are currently.